project is Hostel Management System, and this is the working demo for that. Now, in here we can register as an owner or register as a hostler. I have already created an owner account to simplify the process. Now, these are the details of the owner account. I have also entered the same number as the password. Now, when we hit the password, we should be redirected to this page: calculations, menu, hostels, and profile. When we hit the profile option, we should be able to see all the values which we've entered while registering the account. I will show you how to register an owner account shortly. These are the details of the hostler. These are the details of the owner. I'm sorry. And then you can also update. You can also update the details of the owner in here. And hostlers. Right now, this right now this is an application. An application sent by a hostler. It is dependent on us whether we have to accept, whether we are accepting the application or rejecting the application. I'll show you how to send an application in a short while. And these are the hostler details. We could also manually add hostlers, and um, we have to enter all the fields for the same. But I've already done this previously, so I've already entered all the details of the manually added hostler. Now I've given the name as hostler added by the owner, so that it will be easy for us to recognize the hostler. And other is not a mandatory field, so we can leave it empty. Now, previously we have no hostlers here. Now this is application history. These are not hostlers. Or by hostlers we mean the fields in here. All the records in here are empty, which means that there are no hostlers as of now. But when we hit the submit option over here, we should be able to see a new hostler in here. We can also delete the record from here itself, but I'm not going to do that. And these are the applications sent by applicants who want to join the hostel. We could accept or reject the application. I'm going to show you how to do that. And this is the menu. This is the menu entered by the owner. This menu can be updated by hitting the update menu option. And breakfast, lunch, dinner, we enter the values over here. We can also update the menu by clicking the update menu option, but it is going to take a long time since we have to enter all the values like this. So I'm going to skip that. This is the calculations tab where we enter the manual calculations performed. Initially, we thought of integrating the UPI payments, but we could not do that because of the security issue coming up. So, what we thought of was doing just another manual calculator for the owner. For example, if the owner has earned 1500 rupees and the description is not mandatory, so if I hit submit, we should be able to see the history over here and the timestamp for this. If the owner has spent 2500, let us say the owner has spent 9000 rupees. I'm going to hit submit over here, and they should show minus 9000, and they should show the net profit or net loss in here. Now, let me show you how to send an application to the owner. Right, hostel directory, and we need to, if we are an applicant looking for a hostel, we need to click on apply for hostel. We need to enter all the details. We need to enter all the details. Let me applicant, and let me give a number. Um, okay, 147258369. 147258369, and I'm going to give the same number as password. Other is not mandatory. And register address is mandatory. Now when I enter these values and hit register, it should show us a screen like this. And after showing us a screen like this, when we enter into the owner account, it will show if the application. It will show the screen looking for hostel. Now it is dependent on us whether we want to accept the application or reject the application. I'm going to allot a room over here. I'm going to allot room number 12 and fee of 5000, and date of joining as 1st February, next payment date as 20th February. And now when I hit accept, now this should be shown alongside hostler records, right? Because we are accepting the application. I'm going to accept the application right now. And so this is the hostler added by the owner, which means that we have manually added the hostler, and this is looking for hostler, which means that it was an application previously, and we've added we've accepted the application into a hostler. Now, let me show you the hostler profile. I'm going to copy this, and let me close these for now. We have a logout. We have logout option on every other page. So on every page. So when we hit logout, it should log us out of the screen. And right, right. This login page is common for both the owner and the hostler. So what we have to do is we have to enter the hostler details which we've entered previously. So we could either log in as the hostler which we as the hostler who submitted his application, and we've accepted an application to become a hostler. Right? We would enter that, or we could also enter the details of the hostler added manually by the owner. So I'm going to do the one, I'm going to enter the details of the hostler was added manually by the owner. So I've copied the number previously, and I'm going to paste the same number over here. We hit login, and this menu was entered by the owner previously when he was registering his profile. Since since the hostlers are since hostlers are accepted by the owner, they should also show the same menu which the owner has decided. So this is the menu which the owner has decided, and this is the profile of the hostler. This is the name, password, room fee, etc. This is the profile of the hostler, and this is the fee where this is the fee set by the this is the fee set by the owner. This is the name of the applicant. This one is the name of the applicant, and 5,000 next date owner. And these are the details of the owner of the hostel. This is the name of the hostel. Now, when we hit send complaint over here, and app mail should open in your desktop, but I'm not going to do that. If you click on OK, application mail should open. And this is the hostler profile. Right. I'm going to log out. Right. Okay. Now, since I've recorded this video twice or thrice trying to explain the code, but there were errors in between. So I'm going to do that with the help of the documentation which we've written previously. And currently, the documentation is in this one, this profile. So right now we have not completed the entire documentation. We are yet to format the documentation, but we have the content. So I'm going to go to the content navigation bar. If you remember correctly, there was a navigation bar with calculations, menu, profile, etc. And this is the code and the explanation for navigation bar. Most of it are simple bootstrap classes like navbar and navbar default. Navbar and navbar default, and we've created that using an unordered list, and we gave the list elements a class of navlink over here. So we've made that unordered list, and we gave them bootstrap classes to make it look like a navigation bar. And this explains the same. And owner registration, and hostel menu registration. And I can right. So when we hit as register as an owner, and we give some number which was not entered previously. Now let me give a new number which was not entered previously. I need to enter 10 digits. Copy, paste. When we do that, we have this form. We need to enter all the details in this form. This is where the initial values of the menu came from. So we need to enter these values when we are registering as an owner. So I'm not going to do that now. So when we do that, uh, the values are updated in the tables, in the database tables. Right. So when we create a new user, when we create a new owner, I will show you the database for that. Right. When we create a new owner, we have a new record in this table called as owner. And if you look at this carefully, hmm, this was the account that I showed you initially, the owner account. And this has an ID of 6. This has an ID of 6. Now if I go back and if you see here, there's a table whose name is 6. And this should include the values of all the menu and the profile details of the owner. So we can see over here name, mail, number, hostel details, and these are the how do I put it? These are the menu details, right? These are the menu details, and this was the calculation history. So what we are doing is we are finding a random number from 4 to 20, from 1 to 20. I'm sorry, and this will generate a random number. In my case, this was 6. In my case, the ID was 6. Let me show you. Yeah, owner. In my case, the ID was 6. So it will generate a random number every time. It will generate a random number every time, and it will create a new table. By table, I mean this one, this table. And inside that table, it should contain all the menu values and the personal details and the personal profile details of the owner. So this is a query to do the same, and we run this query by doing this connection. Okay, I forgot to show you connection. Just a minute. And right, so I've already logged into my hosting account. Uh, fine, man. Okay, fine. I should have given the documentation for connection also, right? So this is the general syntax to connect to the database. But in order to simplify the process, what we did was we've predefined a connection variable, which I'm going to show you shortly. This is these are the details. We've written a code for this so that we don't have to keep on entering the same syntax for connecting to the database. So this is the connection.php, and owner registration and hostel menu registration. We just went through that previously. Uh, we create a new owner, right? We create a new owner. A random ID is generated for the same, and with the ID, a table is also generated, which includes the values of the menu and the personal details of the profile of the owner. After that, this is the query. This is the query to create the table. This is the query to create the table with all those profile values and all those menu values like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Status.php. Okay, so status.php shows the status of the application For example, let me create a new application right now. Hostel.rf.bg, and I'm going to send an application to an owner. So ABCDEFG number is 258147369. I'm going to have the same number as password. Other is not mandatory, and address is Abid. So invalid mobile. Okay, we need to enter 10 digits. I only entered 9 digits. Right? So 1473690. I'm sure it should work now. And, sorry, this was supposed to be the name. A B C D E F G. Same number. The number is the password, and other is not mandatory. Address is Hyderabad. Register. Now, when we hit register and when we enter the name of the we are shown all the hostels available. Now, please ignore this. This was done during testing the website. We can delete this. We can delete this row later. And for now, this was the owner which we've used previously. Now, if I hit apply, uh, owner denied the request. Yes, probably we've denied the request earlier. So it will be shown as owner denied the request. Instead, if we had accepted the request, we could have logged in through the hostler details. We could have logged in through the same details as a hostler. So that is status.php. And what we did was in status.php, we use these variables. For example, if the if the owner accepts the application, then the value is set by one as the owner, and it will, when the applicant tries to log in, it will take him to the hostler.php page. We've seen that previously. And if it is two, for example, we need decision making, right? We could have used switch case. It's something like a switch case. So if the status is two, it will show that owner decision is pending. If the status is zero, it will show that owner denied the request. So that is the status.php login and verification of page. Right. Yeah. So there's going to be the common there's going to be the common HTML and bootstrap code for the navigation bar. Please ignore that. And after that, this number, this form control ID is equal to number, placeholder is equal to number. This is what we see when we try to log in, for example. I'm sorry. Right. So, right. So, this is showing this code here. Sorry. Right. This code here shows the login page. All of this is bootstrap, and we've discussed that previously. And these are input. These are input and these are input and text fields, labels, input and labels. Okay, there's no labels here. These are input. So this number has an ID. This number has an ID of number, and we've also given the placeholder as a number. As you can see, the placeholder is also number, and the placeholder for this is also password, and the ID for the same is also password. And this is the login here. Now, when we hit the login option, and uh, and not to forget, we've given them a class of form group, of bootstrap class of form group, so that there is adequate spacing between the elements. Now, this is the login page, and for the verification of the login page, go to authorization.php. Right. Hmm. Right. So this is the verification. So this is the verification. Now, these are session. Okay. Right. These are we use this for session variable, session start, and we're going to import the values using the post. Previously on the login page, uh, the people who register their hostels, they enter the data on form elements, and we can retrieve the data from the form elements using this $_post, and we are storing them in a variable known as own number and password. Now, what we are going to do is, if he has previously registered, if the user has already previously registered for the same, it will check. Now, it will go to the database. It will enter this query and check if there is already a user, and there is already a user. If there is already a user, it will log into the page. For example, calci.php for owner, and I think it was today's menu.php for the hostler. So it is doing the same over here. If there is one row, which means that an owner with a given number already exists. If is if it is not equal to one, no, it'll if it is one, and it will check if, for example, let me show you. This result and result one over here is used to check if the owner query is satisfied. It's used to check if the owner record is present in the owner table, and this is used to check if the hostler record is present in the hostler table. So we check the values over here, and if they are present, mm, we will redirect them to calci.php page, and uh, we go to the hostler records, and if the hostler is present, we redirect them to status.php page. If there is no record with the given details, if there is no record with the given number and the given password, it will throw an error. Um, Hostler profile page. Hostler profile page is mostly HTML and Bootstrap, but let me show you anyway. So we are going to all of this code is used to fetch the data from the database. Uh, we are using the variables where we are writing the query to check if from with the given number, with the given number, if there exists a profile, and if there is, we are fetching the data. The authentication was done previously. This page is used to fetch the data. Now we go down, and this is a plain page. Now all of this code is, now we are fetching the data from the database. We are fetching the data from the tables, and we are displaying it here. Now the class of form group is used to give adequate spacing. There's nothing much here, and more, and the code above is for navigation bar. The above code is for navigation bar. Owner profile page. Owner profile page is also same, but with the exception that in the owner page we have an extra field for rooms. That is the only real difference between the owner profile page and the hostler profile page. Owner menu page and hostler menu page. We've seen menu previously with all those random values, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Um, now this code here, this code here is used to. This code here is used to show the value of the menu table, which is stored in the data of the menu table, which is stored in the database. Now we've stored the days like Monday to Saturday as an array, and we've written a query to extract the values. And for example, this is a numbered array. So day of 0 should give Monday, day of 1 should give Tuesday, etc. Now what we are going to do is we are going to we are going to execute we are going to execute this query and store the result in the form of rows result. So we're going to store the result in the form of rows, and the code for that should be somewhere around here. Let me show you. Just a minute. Right. Just a minute. This is the code for this thing. So we are storing the result in the form of rows, which is present. Right. Line number 43 over here. Now we are storing the value. We are storing the records as an associative array, and we are storing the values as an associative array. And this one is used to, although this one is used to update the menu table, displaying the menu is also similar. So row is equal to fetch. This statement here is used to uh, store the values of an associative row of the menu as an associative row, so that we will be able to display the values more easily as an associative array. Sorry. So row of breakfast, row of lunch, and row of dinner should be able to would show the values of the same. For example, in row one, if the column name is breakfast and the value is say say upma, then this should show upma, and this should show rice, and this should show dinner, and this should be. And this since this row over here, this has this stores all the records in this variable. So until all the records are iterated, and this will keep continuing. So we should be able to see the records for 7 days of a week here. And when we hit the update option, when we hit the update option, when we hit the update option, the previous table will be closed and this table will be displayed, and the values which we enter here, the SQL query will run and replace the previous values with the new values. That is the code for the same. Login page and verification page, we've done this previously. Hostler profile page, owner profile page. We've done this previously. These pages are very similar. These profile pages are very similar. These are only HTML and bootstrap. What to say? Owner menu page and hostel menu page. We've just gone through that. Updating the menu page, there was an option, right? There was an option to update the menu, and when we hit the menu page, we can we can update the values using this query. We can update the values, previous values using this query. Registration.php. Right. This one is when we register as an owner, we are shown this form where we're supposed to fill all these values, and this one is for the same. Back then, the previous menu.php page was to show the menu when we are logged in as an owner. This page over here is to insert the values of the menu for the first time when we are registering as a user or when we are registering as an owner. So that is about it. The code in the hoster module is very much similar to the code in the owner module, and calc.php. Fine. This is the calc.php. In calc.php, what we are doing is we are doing simple calculation. For example, uh, it's plain queries. For example, if we enter value of 1500, it is entered into the table. If we if we spend or earn, we are just updating the values and inserting the values into the table, and the total value is set by this SQL query. There is nothing much to go over the calc.php page. So thank you. Group number 13, project name Hostel Management System.